Hi, and welcome to another in our continuing series on Hinduism in our study of world religions. And so today we turn our attention to yoga. We've thought a lot about Brahman-atman, Maya, Dharma, Karma, Samsara, Moksha, Satchidananda, the whole ball of wax, the whole process behind the project of Hinduism, which is, of course, to distill it down to its simplest form, to move out of our current ordinary consciousness characterized by ignorance and confusion and delusion, and move into deeper and deeper realization of our fundamental, inseverable oneness with all matter, energy, and consciousness, in a word, Brahman, to realize that we are one. That's the goal of all Hinduism. But how do you do that? What are the techniques or practices or paths that we may travel in order to bring to fruition that ancient longing of oneness? And the one-word answer is yoga. Now, when you hear the word yoga, the first thing that comes to mind is, yoga class. Yoga mats, downward dog, warrior pose, all that stuff. And you're not wrong to think of that. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to think of when you hear the word yoga, because that's how we use the word around here most of the time. Yoga refers to a kind of low-impact exercise class designed for core strengthening, wellness, weight loss, all that stuff that Americans are always thinking about. But of course, that stuff that comes to mind that you associate with yoga class, breath work and body work, is really just one small part of one of the four paths of yoga called Raja Yoga. And the asanas and the pranayamas, the poses and the breath work of the 8 stages of Ashtanga Yoga within Raja Yoga, that's what got extracted out and turned into your yoga class. So yoga, the practice of yoga is awesome. I do it every day. It's one of the ways I stay well and healthier than I would be without it. But when we're talking about yoga in terms of Hinduism, there is much more going on than just getting on your yoga mat and doing some poses and doing a little workout. So, in fact, all of that physical stuff is called technically Hatha Yoga, wellness, exercise, with or without kind of deeper spiritual and philosophical implications. Depends on your teacher, right? Some of your yoga teachers will take you into some of these Hindu ideas. Other yoga teachers are just like, no, we're just here to strengthen our core, and they won't talk about any of the teachings of Hinduism. So it just depends. Now, today, let's just get a handle on yoga in a kind of general sense before we dive in our next video into the 4 margas or paths of specific kinds of yoga: jnana yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, and Raja Yoga. We'll work on those in the next video. But for today, let's just get a sense of what we even mean by the word yoga and why it is so central and so core to the Hindu project. So the word yoga comes from the Sanskrit word yuj, Y-U-J. And yuj means to join or to unify or to integrate. Now, maybe you're remembering the way we defined the word religion at the very beginning of our world religions course here, from the Greek and then later Latin roots religio or religare, meaning to link back or to connect. So, the word religion and the word yoga kind of mean the same thing: to bring that which is scattered into unity, to bring the disparity of all the energy in the cosmos into a unified field of energy in the cosmos. So religio and religion and yuj and yoga kind of have a similar vibe. One of the other things that we can notice about the ancient word yuj and the Hindu idea of yoga is its etymological link to the English word yoke, Y-O-K-E, not egg yolk, yoke. You know, those harnesses that farmers put over, say, a pair of oxen to pull a plow through a field. So think about this analogy with me for a minute. Why is yoga like a yoke, despite the fact that the words are actually linked? Well, think of what a farmer does with a yoke. A farmer takes, say, 2 oxen, these wonderful, magnificent, powerful animals, which on their own are just kind of wandering through the pasture, grazing, doing their own thing. And the farmer brings them together and puts a harness over both of their necks and links them together. And then, from the intentionality of the farmer, asks these powerful, energetic beings to pull this steel plow through the ground to turn up a row so that seeds could be planted to raise a crop. So with that farmer analogy, that's really what yoga is also. Just as the farmer uses this instrument, this yoke, to harness powerful energies and unify those energies toward a conscious aim, so too the yogi, the one practicing yoga, you or I, the yogi practices their yoga in order to bring into a state of unity the disparate energies of the mind-body, of consciousness and the energies of the body, to bring all of that normally somewhat chaotic, dissipated energy into alignment, into unity. And secondly, to direct now that mind-body energy toward a specific aim, namely the realization of oneness, the realization of Brahman-atman. So yoga is a perfect image and analogy and concept for the bedrock aim of Hinduism, which is, of course, namely the realization of oneness and the realization of Brahman-atman, to put a finer point on it. And that's what the 4 yogas that we're going to discuss in the next video are really all about. And when we get to Raja Yoga, the last one we'll discuss in the next video, there we'll dive deeper into Ashtanga Yoga, or the 8-limbed yoga, 2 of those limbs being the breath work and the body work that y'all do in your yoga classes, that I do when I'm doing yoga. You know, your yoga teacher's always trying to get us to work on our breathing. It's not just hold this pose and then hold that pose. It's about breathing more intentionally. And so all of those threads will start to pull together in our next video about the 4 yogas. So I'll see you on the other side.